Yes, indeed. What's going on, y'all? It's your main man, Big Wayne, with another episode of Calling How I See It. Come on in, the water's just fine. What's up, y'all? It's been a while. Well, it's been a while on YouTube, but you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, IG, Wayne Diesel. You know it is. So we got a lot to talk about. Click, like, subscribe. I feel like they say you're supposed to say that, so I just never said that. But click, like, subscribe, tell your friends, all that good stuff. Now, let's get on into it. There's a lot I want to talk about. I got something to say. So, first of all, let me start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got one question. Where is the group that wanted Mike Tomlin fired? Where is the group that said his time in Pittsburgh is done? Because for years, I heard Mike Tomlin's, his time is gone. Mike Tomlin, his day is done. Mike Tomlin's not the right guy no more. Get some new blood in here. All these things I heard about Mike Tomlin, despite that all he ever did was have winning seasons every year. It's like, oh, no, that ain't enough. That's just mediocrity. We can't settle for mediocrity. We Pittsburgh Steelers. Never mind the fact what he was doing for y'all. He sustained the culture. He has consistency. He has success. And I'll be honest, because they beat the Jets Sunday. And I wasn't sure about them putting in Russell Wilson. Like, in Russ? Like, let Russ cook Russ? You put him in? Justin Fields got you winning, doo-wopping, and show-stopping. But he said, hey, I'm putting Russ in. We're going to see what we got. Showing that he's not going to fall victim to complacency. You know what I mean? Sometimes if it ain't, you ever heard that phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Well, guess what? If it ain't broke, break it. Build something better. That's what Mike Tomlin did with Russell Wilson. And we saw he was better for it because, yeah, he came out, he stumbled out the blocks a little bit, but once time went on, he looked really good. They had a vertical passing game. They hadn't scored like that all season. We hadn't seen QB play like that from Pittsburgh in a while. George Pickens looked like a top 5 receiver out there. That man caught everything but a cold and COVID out there. So I'm just like, wow. So now they got a quarterback, they got a defense, and they got a running game. And silly me, I don't know how I didn't see this before. Russ is going to work in Pittsburgh. I know this is hindsight now because everybody can say that now. But if you think about it, this Pittsburgh team is similar to those Seattle Seahawks teams. I'm not saying it's the exact same thing, but this Pittsburgh team has got a power run game, just like Seattle did. They got a great defense in Pittsburgh, just like they did Seattle. It's not the Legion of Boom. It's different, but both of them still good defenses. So all you need is Russ, be able to extend the play a little bit, extend the field, and utilize your weapons. And both teams had good coaching. Pete Carroll in Seattle and great coaching in Mike Tomlin. This is a similar situation. And shout out to Mike Tomlin because a lot of people thought Russ was done. I did. I'm not going to lie. I thought his best days was behind him. I thought he was closer to being a backup than he was a starter. Shit. That man looked like he about to get in the MVP race. So, big win for them. Big win for Pittsburgh. And I think we might need to add Pittsburgh to some of these conversations. I know people talking about the Chiefs who undefeated. I'm talking about the Bills because, I'm one of the ones, Bills going to the Super Bowl. A lot of people like Baltimore. They doing good. Maybe Pittsburgh need to enter this chat a little bit. Perhaps we're not giving Pittsburgh its proper due and respect and fun in the sun. I know it's the Jets, but they still doing good out here now. They got some things that'll work. A power run game, that'll work. A QB that can extend the field, that'll work. Receivers, that'll work. Good coaching, that'll work. Front office, that'll work. How many teams have we said, oh, that front office is terrible? Carolina or the Cowboys. Pittsburgh ain't got that problem. How many times you said, man, these people need to run the ball. They need to learn how to run the ball. How many people we've heard say that? Pittsburgh ain't got that problem. They got everything you want. And I think their record is incumbent of that. So Pittsburgh, I think they are going to be all right. Pittsburgh looks good. And in that division, because the Browns are done. I think Pittsburgh's better than the Bengals at this point. I don't think they're better than Baltimore, but that's something that I need to see how this season progresses before I just commit to something like that. But I'm ready to say Pittsburgh is serious. I'm ready to say that. And they got a good QB, and they got a backup quarterback, and they got a run game. That's what good coaching does for you. It could take something that you thought was done and make it into something. They say something all the time. There's a phrase. Y'all ever heard that phrase? You show me a good coach and I'll show you good players. And I'll be damned if that ain't true for Pittsburgh. Same thing. The same thing applies. So, now, having said that, I'm going to tell y'all something you already know. Davante Adams is not going to save the Jets. I thought they was on the right track or something before they fired Robert Saleh, which was probably a mistake because their defense has not been the same since they let him go. That was not the problem. Robert Saleh was not the problem. I'm not even saying Aaron Rodgers is the problem. I'm not saying that either. But what I am saying is he's not going to save him. What I am saying is his best days are behind him. So I think you asking Aaron Rodgers to drop back and throw the ball 30, 35 plus times, you are asking for trouble. I wouldn't want no quarter unless you some all-time great like a Patrick Mahomes or a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, somebody like that. You know, you really don't need to be throwing the ball that many times because a lot can happen. Number one, you setting your QB up to get popped if your line ain't where it need to be. Number two, I mean, you open it up for more turnovers. You open it up for interception, and you put a lot of pressure on your quarterback. Whereas if you got that balance, that run game, you know, it makes it easier for the quarterback. Opens up play action, extends the drive. You're doing third and short versus third and long. You know what I mean? You're not asking for your receivers to make some kind of Hail Mary spectacular type play, and you ain't putting as much pressure on them. So instead of, hey, man, I need you to get 15, 20 yards. Hey, man, I need you to get 3 or 4. You see what I mean? What you're asking for them is a lot less, it's a lot more feasible versus you asking them to do something wild. You see what I'm saying? So I don't understand why they kind of got away from running the ball like that. I know Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, but we've seen a lot of the best teams in the league are running the ball. Look at the Bills. I just mentioned Pittsburgh. You see Baltimore. All these teams are running the football. That's half the problem with the Cowboys. They don't got no run game. Like, if you struggling, what your run game look like? Oh, but wait, what about Carolina? They top 5 in rushing. They ain't won but one game. First of all, Carolina ain't got nothing to do with this conversation. It ain't got nothing to do with this conversation. Just because you got a run game, you got to be able to play defense too. And maybe that's old school. Maybe I'm just too old school a little bit. But I just think a good strong run game and a good strong defense, that'll get you there. Do you need a quarterback? I know it's the quarterback. You do need a quarterback. You do. Right? I get that. But if we being honest about the situation, how many people just have a quarterback that's just going to just save the day for them time and time and time again? There's few and far in between. And I think the Jets are figuring that out. Like, you can't just have a quarterback just going to save the day. You need a couple other things. And the defense has regressed. And I think that they putting too much on Aaron Rodgers. And he can't do it. I think that's the biggest problem with the Jets. That's the biggest problem with the Jets. I think the Jets I thought they'd be a little better. I'm not going to lie. I didn't have them winning the division or nothing because, again, I had the Bills winning. But I didn't think they'd be this bad. So what do? They stuck with it because you got rid of Robert Saleh. You got Ned Hackett in there. You got Alan Lazard. You got Davante Adams. I mean, you just got an older version of Green Bay is what you got. That's what you wanted. And now you stuck with it. So you just got to roll with it and see what's best. Now, are they going to win? They'll win some games here and there. I just don't think they was ready for Pittsburgh. Because, again, I think Pittsburgh might be on to something. Pittsburgh might be on to something special. You understand what I'm saying? So, shout out to Pittsburgh, the Jets. They just not what people thought they was going to be. And I didn't expect much from them anyway because my thing was, well, shoot, when Aaron Rodgers had these people in his prime, he wasn't winning. So why would I expect the older version to do something that he wasn't doing in his prime? To me, it was as simple as that. I didn't need all the X's and O's and all that. So I'm not really shocked, but I'm not I'm not moved by it one way or the other. In the AFC, it ain't no joke. And look at that division. Well, at the time, I didn't know Tua was going to go through what he went through. But it's a balanced breakfast over there. It's the NFL. Ain't no easy wins out here. Unless, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. Let's move on. Now, something else I got to talk about. The football that got played on Saturday. Texas lost. And I had to hear from everybody from north, east, southwest. I had to hear about it because, I've been loud about Texas winning the SEC and going to the SEC in the national championship playing Ohio State. Things which I still believe. I still believe Texas going to the SEC championship. I still think they're going to win the SEC championship. That was just a wake-up call and a rough day at the office. And the Detroit and damn, I can't talk, Wayne. The Georgia Bulldogs look like the Baltimore Ravens out there. I didn't know they was going to play defense like that. Hell, they ain't played defense like that all year. If I know they was going to play defense like that, if they knew they was going to play defense like that, they'd be number one in the country right now and be undefeated. They never lost to Alabama. They beat Alabama 52-6 if they had played defense like that. Ain't no way. Y'all thought y'all was talking about Alabama before. If they had played that Georgia team, shit, they had knocked the elephant off that doggone flag. So the thing about Texas. Texas got overwhelmed. Maybe they was a little high on the horse. Maybe they was a little arrogant, but they showed up a little late. So maybe they was. Maybe the light got a little bright for them. Maybe they did. But them boys can hang in the SEC. They still one of the best teams in the SEC. Dare I say they the best team in the SEC? I know that's not the thing to say today because they did just get smacked by Georgia. So Georgia has their day. But you remember that year Georgia won the championship when they lost to Alabama in the regular season and then they turned around and played them again in the national championship? I kind of got the same kind of vibes about this. This reminds me a lot of that. You see, that's why I'm not really down on it. It's hard to beat a team twice. It's real hard to beat a team twice in the NFL and especially in the SEC. So, or in college football. I don't care what it is. Unless it's just some scrub team, then you just going to beat the brakes off of them all the time. But Georgia and Texas ain't them kind of teams. So, do y'all think Georgia could really beat Tennessee twice? Hell, do you think they could beat Alabama twice? Yeah, I think they'll beat Alabama twice. This year, they'll beat Alabama twice, for sure. But no, for real though. So let's think about this. Texas still has a great defense. And Georgia's offense, I've told y'all, it is not that good. Georgia's offense is not up to snuff. It's not. So let's not act like they just ain't flawed. If Quinn Ewers didn't have the worst game he had played, they'd been better. They'd been better, but it is what it is. But next time, I think they have revenge on their mind. That was a good wake-up call. Sometimes you got to realize, like, hey, man, you don't want to coast through the whole thing, and better to have this now than late so you can bounce back. And I think they'll probably win out because they got some lollipops now. Texas A&M, you can't sneeze at that. But the rest of them games, they should be all right. They should be good the rest of them games. And we'll see what happened in the SEC championship because we know they go into the SEC championship. For all these people saying, oh, they ain't no cakewalk in the SEC, they about to be in the SEC championship. And when they win the SEC championship playing either Tennessee or Georgia, I'm still more Tennessee. We'll see what happens. And we'll see who last laugh. But speaking of Tennessee, I told y'all Tennessee was about that. Now, y'all can say if you want to, maybe it's Alabama. Maybe Alabama just down bad. Maybe. Or maybe Tennessee is just better than what y'all thought. Could it be a little bit of both? Because Tennessee's still playing good football. They still got a good run game. I'm not crazy about Nico Lamaleva. I'm not crazy about him. I was higher on him earlier in the year than what I am now. But he's still a solid quarterback. And he can learn from this too. You can learn from a loss. You can learn something from a win. So he's still adapting. He's still getting them reps up under his belt. And we're going to see what they do against Georgia. That's going to be a big game. I think that's going to be a playoff implication type game. So, because Alabama, they on life support. They low key, they can't afford to lose no more games. If they trying to be in the playoffs, they can't lose no more games because they lost 2 games already, 2 in the SEC play because they lost to Vanderbilt and then they lost to Tennessee. So that's 2 losses already right there. Now, they probably gonna lose to LSU. I didn't think that earlier in the year because I didn't think Bama was gonna quite look like this, but they gonna lose LSU. They gonna lose LSU. Missouri, I don't know. I'm not too high on Missouri either. I'm gonna say Alabama wins that one, and it's in Tuscaloosa. But that LSU game in Death Valley, y'all better read some scripture for the game. So. But the thing about it, though, Alabama's still a good football team. Just because it's not a dynasty don't mean it's a bad football team. They're just a team that just got to regather themselves. That's all it is. That's all it is. So we gotta. The only people that's really disappointed are the ones that probably thought they was gonna pick up where they left off and they was gonna be contending for a championship. Them should be the only people. Them the only ones that are disappointed. But really, you should have known it's gonna be a scale back. And now I ain't gonna say rebuild because they was ranked top 5-ish, 8-ish. I don't remember where they was. They had draft prospects all over the roster. They had these 5 stars. They had this top recruiting class that I was telling about. So it ain't like he just got left a bunch of straws and paper clips. No, he had some thoroughbreds out there. And a team that was in the Final Four of the playoffs last year. So it's not like he just picked up a bad team. So that's why I can't really get with people comparing it to Saban because Saban inherited a bunch of garbage. Right? He lost to Louisiana Monroe when he lost like 5 or 6 games the first year. Yeah, he picked up a bunch of bull jive. So he couldn't win with all that. Not in the SEC. So, but then he turned it into something. That ain't what Kalen DeBoer picked up. He picked up a top 10 QB hopeful. He was a Heisman candidate. A team that was in the playoffs. A team with 5 stars all over the place. So if Saban had inherited that, he probably would have won faster than what he did, to be honest. So I never understood that Saban comparison because really it don't make sense. But never mind, that's something else. That's something else. So, but Bama ultimately they're gonna be fine. Kalen DeBoer, he's gonna be fine. Just let him get in there and get himself together because this ain't Sioux Falls. This ain't Washington. It's Alabama. So there's an adjustment period that needs to be made. You know what I mean? Because football's played a little different in the South. Like they say, it just means more. It do mean more. And they hit harder down here too. That's another thing. So I think Saban will be all right. I think Kalen DeBoer will be all right. Alabama's going to be fine. Are they going to make the playoffs? Probably not. But this will be a lesson learned, and it'll be some humble pie for anybody that need to have it. Because I'm sure there's still a bit of arrogance running rapid through Tuscaloosa. And dare I say the locker room. Maybe. So I think this would be a good wake-up call of a season. Sometimes you need seasons like this to realize, hey, if you ain't on your P's and Q's, we can look like this. So if you don't want to look like this again, we need to do this and that so we don't end up back here. Use this failure to motivate your success. Failure is the key to success. I told y'all that before. So this might not be what y'all thought it was going to be, but this might have been what they need. We can't always get what we want. Sometimes we got to have what we need. Never mind football. That's part of life. Really. So I think they're going to be fine. I think they are going to be fine, and they will show up tried and true and finish the season out and pick up where they left off and build on it. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. So they're going to be all right, but can't have too many seasons like this because they don't play that. And you better not lose that Iron Bowl. Shoot, yeah, man. But that's all I got right now, man. Y'all be cool. Love, peace, Afro Grease. I'm out this thing. Yeah.